Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in every democracy, criticism is not just, inevitable. It is essential. It is part of the process. You don't need to like it. Actually, nobody even cares if you like it, but it must happen. In a functioning democracy, it is part of the process, and we can argue about it being constructive or not later. That's a different conversation. But in reality, nobody even owes you or any government constructive criticism. And again, you don't need to like it to hear it, but you must allow it. You see, every administration, no matter how much good it does, it will still have its faults, and that's part of it. That's the nature of governance. No matter what points you want to make about the successes that you have recorded, you must still have faults. And the existence of what you describe as positives should not be enough to stop anyone from pointing out what the negatives are. So if you claim that you've built 10 roads, it should not be enough, to convince or to stop anybody from saying, well, you might have built 10 roads, but healthcare is still a mess. And again, the role of citizens and opposition figures or groups is to hold the government to account. And you must allow freedom of expression and diverse perspectives. Again, nobody owes you constructive criticism. It's simply just advised. Keep in mind that the ruling party in Nigeria is always so lucky. You barely have any actual threatening opposition. The opposition parties and politicians are as weak as feathers. Half of them confused. The other half are looking for ways to join the ruling party or working as moles for the ruling party. And so really, the current government doesn't have much to even feel threatened by. And so it's important that as we call out government, we must also put fire at the feet of those who claim to be opposition party members. But for people like Felix Morka and the current government, again, progress never comes without imperfections, and criticism isn't an enemy to be silenced. It's a mirror reflecting the truth, whether you like it or not. Take any administration, you would find roads built, industries developed, gains will likely be recorded, but alongside those gains, you will find missteps and oversights and sometimes outright failures. Now, these failures are part of their record, and they must be acknowledged and they must be spoken about. For example, while Felix Morka was responding to Mr. Peter Obi, it will be on the record of the current administration that under their watch, a military base in Borno was attacked and Nigerian soldiers were killed. You don't need to like it, but it's on your record. And it must be said. It is going to be on your record that Nigerians suffered the worst economic crisis under this administration. And their narratives as to why it had to be so have not been convincing enough. So again, you don't need to like to hear it, but you will be criticized and you must allow it. And if you have more compelling arguments, then please share with Nigerians. Mr. President had a huge opportunity during his media chat, if you remember, to speak on all his policies and tell his critics to shut up. But arguably he failed. So it is your responsibility as the government in power to properly communicate and have compelling arguments and points made to convince the people that you are truly on the right track. And if you can't, don't start convulsing because others point out your flaws better than you can explain them. Good morning, Nigerians.